All right. Hey, all you cool coyotes and roadrunners. Welcome to Tucson Talks. I'm your host, Jax Moyer, and I'm joined by my co-host and husband of my life, William Moyer. Hi, Will.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good. It was hot.
Because I'm around.
No, because Tucson was hot.
Oh. Thanks, babe. I'll remember that.
Carolyn's looking cool outside, though.
Cool and breezy.
Who's that girl?
Who's that girl? We'll find out in a moment. But yeah, Tucson Talks, this is a web series that's dedicated to people with a Tucson presence. So we're bringing them on as guest stars. And by having a Tucson presence, they might be a community connector, a pioneer, a staple, or just an overall cool person that wants to chit chat about all things Tucson and why we love it. It's presented by Jaxon Life Design, which is an agency that focuses on consulting services with soul, providing personal and professional coaching, as well as interior design and home organization. So if you'd like more information about Jaxon Life Design, visit jaxonlifedesigns.com or visit our social media, which that information is down in the description. Today we have a guest, Carolyn O'Connor. She is the owner of CERES, a delicious pasta cafe located downtown across from La Cocina and Old Town Artisans. A little background about the cafe, if you don't already know, it focuses on house-made pasta using Italian flours and freshly locally grown milled grains, as well as fresh eggs, which is always great.
Why are you shaking your shoulders?
Feeling good about the pasta. Also known for some sweet treats in-house, as well as an espresso bar. Our dogs are excited about it, so you should be too. You can find out more information at CERESTucson.com. Also, I'll put the social media information down in the video description. With that being said, welcome Carolyn to Tucson Talks.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
How are you doing today? How's your day going?
Good. Woke up early, worked all day, just got home. I have the best yard, so I'm sitting on the porch.
Doing the grind, getting the vitamin D.
Yes.
Love it. This is my favorite time in Tucson, to be honest.
It's so I don't know if you can see, everything's blooming. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
So excited.
It's like this crazy hanging plant that it's kind of like a succulent, and then it has all these little pink flowers.
That's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to share my favorite memory of Carolyn. There's been plenty over the past several years of knowing you,
Okay.
but I always tie it to that you were actually one of the very first friends of Will that I met when we first started dating back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually remember to the detail, we went to Tap and Bottle, had some drinks, it was super crowded. And for some odd reason, I remember the exact shirt that Will was wearing, probably because I was extremely infatuated with him. But enough about us, it's about you, Carolyn. But
I'm like, what did I do?
No, but you were I just remember you being such a sweetheart, and that's obviously still true to this day. So super excited to have you in our lives. Will, what's your favorite memory of meeting Carolyn or knowing Carolyn?
My favorite memory of Carolyn, who I call Clem.
Sometimes.
Carolyn, do you want to explain your nickname of Clem?
Starting in college, I had a radio show, and I played old-time tunes from the 1920s through 40s, and my radio show presence was old-time tunes with Darling Clementine. And Will, who just loves to latch on nicknames. And
Darling Clementine. You know, there's I went to college in Vegas, and there's a strip club called Little Darlings.
Is that where Clementine would be dancing?
Darling Clementine would be such a cute strip club name.
Darling Clementine.
Oh my.
But Clem is your official nickname.
Yeah.
My favorite memory is just our Halloween parties that you show up in the most wild costumes ever. Like your gator woman who got, she showed up as a Florida tourist like with a big
Florida grandma.
a Florida grandma in like a windsuit with a padded butt that had like blood all over it from a gator biting her ass.
Yeah, that was a good
It
one.
was amazing. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Show-
Those are my favorite memories of Clem.
Yeah,
Those are good memories. Halloween party was another one for sure.
Halloween parties.
Now, aside from social obligations, you opened CERES. I'm saying that right?
Yep.
I always feel like I'm gonna trip on it, but you've been open for 6 months?
Yep.
That's awesome. Congrats. You've received a lot of love from the community. How does that all feel being a new restaurant?
It's crazy. It's crazy because before, I know this sounds obvious, but before you open, you have no idea what's going to happen. And you're just like, put all your work, all your money, faith and trust into this project and just like cross your fingers that it works. So and then even if it works, you have no idea what the response is going to be and how you're going to feel actually being there every day.
Or if there's a pandemic that.
Or if there's a pandemic, a global pandemic that changes the face
Small
of
things.
restaurants in the world.
Jeez.
But yeah, I just feel like I always knew the Tucson community was super supportive, and I tell all my friends, I'm like, just move here, and anything that you've ever dreamt up, you can just do it here. It's like crazy how accessible Tucson makes things. But yeah, in my wildest dreams, I couldn't have expected the response that we've received.
Have you successfully recruited anyone from out of state to move here yet?
Yeah, Coco, who works at CERES, we went to Skidmore together, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we weren't super close friends, but we always liked each other. And then randomly last January, she was like, I'm going to Mexico. Do you want to come? And I was like, okay. And we went to Mexico and reconnected. And I wasn't even planning on moving back to Tucson at that time, but I did. And then she moved into Ben and I's old apartment and started working at CERES. And so that's my first successful recruit.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
But she'd already been here before, so she knew that Tucson was awesome.
Yeah.
She already liked it, but
gotta make roots.
Yeah.
I checked out. Oh, good. You're working on who?
Getting my sister to come here.
You should.
Family ties.
I know, you guys would love her.
Is she in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tell her to bounce out of there.
See you, Florida. No one needs you. One thing I cannot escape throughout my days being an Instagram whore is all the love that CERES gets on Instagram. You have 4,000 plus followers.
I know.
And I know people love pasta. It makes sense. And your product being housemade, and I think just the environment's super cool. But what do you think beyond that is the appeal? You have locals, but you have also travelers and Instagram influencers showcasing you.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint. I think it helps that the food is just so pretty as a thing. I think that makes a huge difference. There's nothing that I could take a photo of that wouldn't be appealing. And it's pictures of pastries. They just look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, I really want that.
Pasta porn.
Yeah, it is.
Get in my mouth.
Yeah. And then I think before I did CERES, I was given this opportunity to run a coffee shop. And I loved it. And I also did the social media for that. But it was someone else's business. So I felt like I couldn't put my full personality into it. And I feel like with this one, I'm really not scared to just put my whole self into everything, because I am into everything. I'm there every day, all day long. And it's just is my life right now. So I think that's a huge part. I think people are really scared to they don't want to put their face in it, which I understand. Like some people are much more introverted and that doesn't appeal.
Mm.
But I think for me, it's just like, this is my life. Like,
Yeah.
I might as well be totally
Well,
here.
I think in showcasing the team behind it too, and how you guys have your dress up Fridays and stuff like that, like you have a human element to the whole thing besides just the product, you know?
Yeah.
And I think people really connect with that.
And not a lot of restaurant people have a face like Darling Clementine.
It's true.
Or my team. Can we just?
Or your team. Yeah, your whole team's gorgeous.
I know.
It's like an episode of America's Next Top Model.
They're all just like 5'7".
Yeah, glamazons.
Total Betties. Total
Serving
Betties.
some bolognese.
Serving it up. Yeah, sometimes I'm just like, how did I get so lucky that I work with 3 other people that all want to dress up as much as I do?
Yeah.
Where else? I don't know.
You made it happen, girl.
No.
And like, usually I'm the most committed to any sort of dress up situation. And
i.e. Halloween.
Committed.
Hello.
Maybe besides you two.
Yeah. One thing I also wanted to say on your Instagram, I love how you do your videos of like making pasta. Because like it just, again, I think that's like an element, like, I don't know, my personal opinion, at least in terms of like Italian and pasta in Tucson, it's pretty like minimal. And granted, I'm biased because I love you to death, but like legit, I think that there's a lot of heart and soul that you put into what you do. And I think that's really why people, aside from being like the local connection, I think that's really why people like are drawn to it.
Yeah.
Because you're very transparent in the whole thing. So
yeah.
Kudos.
Thanks. Yeah.
What's your favorite shape or style of pasta to make?
Oh my gosh. Well, I love making the pretty shapes just for the beauty of it, like folding and pinching and folding things over. And like, I'm not Italian. I have a lot of Irish, and then on my dad's side, a lot of Polish ancestry, and I love pierogies. And sometimes I'm like, is this just coming back from like some ancestry of like loving folding and like sometimes it feels so good to just like fold and pinch and fill, and I don't know. So sometimes I wonder if it's just like.
So you like a stuffed pasta?
But honestly, to eat, I usually don't prefer stuffed pastas, which I know everyone's crazy about them. But I've liked our last 2 specials a lot. The last week was filled with sweet potato, and this week's asparagus, because I just can't eat that much cheese.
Okay.
Like, I'd rather have like a noodle in a red sauce or a pesto. But these ones are more vegetable based, and I like really love them. I just want to eat like this asparagus filling. I just keep eating spoonfuls of it. It's kind of gross.
Oh, I want the cheese.
I know,
like cheesy babies.
I know. I get like, I love them too, but I'll eat one of them and I'll be like, whoa, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I believe it. I'm hungry now. Now you've had a Tucson presence on and off throughout the last few years, and you moved back to Tucson a little over a year ago, from what I hear, for love.
Yes.
Was it a love of Tucson? Was it a love of someone, or both of those? Was it because Will and I were here?
Yeah, a love of my 2 favorite gays.
Okay.
It was a combo. I love Tucson so much. I've never lived anywhere where I've connected so deeply with the people. And I've never felt like it was so easy to meet people that I have such respect for, like so many creative minds, like you guys who just have all these projects and ambitions, and then also side hobbies. And I just love it. I think people here are so fascinating. But it was definitely what brought me back was love of a person. And we had previously dated and broken up and had kind of rekindled after I went to Mexico with Coco. I came to Tucson. Things rekindled, and I think we've both just grown a lot separately, and we're in a place where it felt right to come back together. And now we're engaged, and
Which you were supposed to get married here in the
I
spring.
know. Yeah, our wedding date's May 30th. So
Did you postpone that, or are you legally gonna get wed and then have a
still
later?
deciding? Yeah, we're still deciding if we're gonna legally do it on May 30th or not. I feel really sad not having any of my family present at all.
Yeah.
Feel sad. So I don't know. We're still deciding. Yeah. But we're definitely going to postpone the party probably to next spring because it's so beautiful here this time of year.
Agree with that.
Between here and now.
Nope. Don't get your pasta stuffed.
No baby bucatinis for you.
Fusilli Jerry.
Oh my gosh.
So you've been back for 1 full year?
Yeah,
right?
a year and a few months.
Collectively, how long have you been in Tucson on and off?
I moved here in 2014 and then left in the middle of 2017, came back in the beginning of 2019. So like 4-ish.
Almost 5 years, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. You've seen a lot of change from 2014 to 2020 Tucson. What do you think the next 10 years looks like in Tucson? Do you think that streetcar is going to get extended ever?
Yeah.
You're going to go somewhere?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to be riding the streetcar. 2010. I don't know. I have like such mixed feelings. I live like Midtown.
Okay.
And it's always cool to see new development, but I'm definitely have the feeling of the greatest and most innovative things come not from big developers, but from smaller people that are driven by something within themselves, not for money, but for some other reason. So it's hard, like, especially near us, there's like a lot of restaurants and housing and things being built that feel like Phoenix. And it's like, is that where we want to go? And I know that it's bringing money into the city, which is ultimately good. But yeah, I just feel conflicted of who we are and fully representing that. And the things that I love about Tucson are definitely not that.
Yeah. You're not about that plaza life.
I mean, I love my plaza that's next door. I can walk to.
What's your favorite little tidbit Tucson history fact that you love?
Oh. I don't know if this is like a fact or history, but I love, like, one of my favorite things about Tucson that I think is just is mind-blowing to me, someone from the East Coast, that this exists in the United States and it feels so much like you're in Mexico, is the Tohono O'odham swap meet, and just like a bunch of vendors set up and the best food I've ever had.
Oh my God, that's what our guest speaker last week said.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, it's like you go there and it feels like this different world. And
she said the best food is at one of the taco trucks at the swap meet.
Probably El Rustico. But they just opened a brick and mortar on Stone.
Yeah, what used to be there? What used to be in that spot?
I think what was it? Cafe Marcel.
Oh yeah, that little crepe place. They used to be on 4th Avenue many years ago.
I know, in that one.
That? Yeah. Cafe Marcel.
What, Ben? He said it was Checkerboard Cafe before Cafe Marcel.
Oh, wow. That's some deep history there.
There's some history.
Tucson native.
So, El Rustico, have you been to their new brick and mortar yet?
Yeah, we did go, but it was, they had just opened up, and I guess they've been like crazy busy. So, I want to go back like post, hopefully when
COVID dies down a little bit more.
Yeah. And I can like fully enjoy it, because I definitely was nervous, like being inside. Yeah, you know. It's just,
he opened in a really rough time. Like, I think they had just like closed dine-in restaurants, and so
and they still like they still said they were really busy. So I hope best of luck for them that's continued, and they'll just continue to get through, because they
didn't close the food truck, right?
I
guess the swap meet has been postponed, but does he have intentions to continue the food truck? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I know it's always the same people that worked at the food truck, and
they're in the standalone store now.
So I don't know what they're doing, but so good. But I like the swap meet because you can go and get everything. Like, there's this one lady that I get my favorite aguas frescas from, and then I go and get tacos, and then I get churros that are the best I've ever had, and then
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your while we're on the topic of food, like your favorite meal in Tucson, or like what's your favorite local restaurant to go to, either like date night or just like casual?
I eat out kind of a lot, but we don't do much like nicer dining. So
that's okay, girl.
It's because I think a lot of people can relate to this. I don't like spending money on a meal and feeling disappointed, which like obviously everyone can relate. But so we go to, my favorite restaurant probably is China Szechuan. It's right on
Campbell and Fort Lowell. Yeah.
And their Szechuan menu, like I went with a friend a while back, and they just ordered a bunch of stuff, and I pretty much order those same things and then throw something new every time, and it's always so good, just like mind-blowingly good. And I just eat the food, and I think also because I don't understand it at all.
We've done the off-menu hot pot there, and it's so good.
What was it?
It's like an off-menu hot pot, like off the
water boiled.
I don't know. It's like not even on the menu. We saw like a bunch of people ordering it, like and we were like, we want that, and they're like, oh, it's not on the menu, and we ordered it. It was so good. So we just shared like a big hot pot in the middle of the table. It was amazing. You had a good sushi recommendation though recently.
I like. It's right near me too. It's just K Sushi Japanese.
Where is it? What are the cross streets?
On Campbell in the plaza with Albertson, so like Glenn and Campbell.
Oh, okay.
And
is it next to Baja?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll have to check that place out. I've heard good things besides from you about K Sushi. Yeah,
I like it a lot. And then I don't know, the little one, obviously.
Yeah, so good.
I love.
Have you been to the big one?
No, I always want to go, and I just feel like I need an occasion for some reason. But I need to just, once they reopen, I need to just go with or without an occasion.
Yeah. The big one's fun.
Yeah.
Good jokes.
What are your favorite restaurants?
We love El Torero, which, I mean, we loved La Rua's before the Broadway project got torn down.
I went there with you guys.
Yeah, so
awesome. Yeah.
They all kind of transported to El Torero, which was like the sister restaurant of La Rua's. So they remodeled that, and they actually serve
alcohol,
tap beer, and like they did a really cool build out, freshened it up, and I think it's such good food.
It's on like South 4th and I want to say like 25th. It's over by the glue factory.
Glue factory, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out. Like once everything dies down, it's such a fun environment.
Yeah, good vibe.
Eat so much food.
I know. I'm getting overwhelmed with all the food talk. I really need a snack. Let's talk about you though, Miss Carolyn. I'm gonna get some insight into you. So kind of thinking about your process with opening the restaurant and everything, what is something that you wish you had known before you started and what you've learned now that you could like offer to like other people? I mean, not necessarily even business wise, just like in life, like.
Yeah. I think it was really helpful to have Ben, who was just like this like cheerleader supporter, because there were certain ideas that I had that I don't think I would have gone forward with because they seemed more complicated. Like they would because originally we were gonna maybe just sell pasta to cook at home. And in hindsight, it's like, would have changed everything. Most of the money that we make that supports us is from selling the lunch that we cook for people, and that's so much of the fun. And Ben was really insistent that a lot of people in Tucson have never even tried fresh pasta, and until you try it, you really don't know how different it is and how good it is. And he's like, you have to make sure that people try it. So I think trusting things, even if they are going to be more difficult. And like, I'm a pretty thrifty gal, and it was really hard to spend money in the beginning. Like everything felt so expensive, and restaurant stuff really is so expensive. But I realized a lot of those initial investments, especially in the build out and making things look exactly how I wanted them to, that was all worth it.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, if you can do stuff yourself, all that flavor gets mixed into it, so it doesn't look like someone else's something. Like it looks like yours.
Yeah, it's not as sterile.
Yeah. And I did receive like some advice about hiring people. Like I think a great deal of the success of CERES has to do with the team. And this one woman owns this restaurant in Syracuse that I really respect, and it's called Possibilities. And they started off doing pasta lunch, like essentially what I'm doing, of just like this quick, it was like a cafeteria style, so there were different options and people could just go and sit down. And she said, hire slow and fire fast. And just hearing that, it's like, just take the time to find the right person. And if you don't feel right about someone in the beginning, that's not going to change. Like, just trust.
Intuition.
Yeah. And just trust it, because your team is everything. They're the people you spend time with. And all of us were talking on our camping trip that we've never worked anywhere else where there's not at least one slacker. And it feels so nice to work with people where everyone works their hardest and you're not picking up slack for everyone, and someone's not being lazy or like doing something half-assed. It makes such a huge difference.
Makes a huge difference for sure.
Yep, hustlers there, that's for sure. Supermodel hustlers.
Yeah, I know. They're all so strong. Like everyone, is like physically very strong as well. Just like lifting.
You reveal their model shoot picture at the end of each shift. Coco.
Okay. Oh, I love it. What makes you feel inspired, or like, when do you feel like your best self?
Oh, I feel feel like my best self when I'm doing all those good things. Like when I wake up extra early, and I have this whole like setup on my roof now. So I try to go up there every morning and just do like a meditation for a while. And that's been really good, especially during this COVID stuff, because the first few weeks I felt like I was going crazy, and I had like, my head was aching, and I had all this tension in my neck, and I was like exhausted every single day. So I feel like that helps a lot. One of my favorite things in Tucson that I haven't mentioned yet is floor polish. It's a dance studio, and
Cardio Partio.
Yes. So she's still live streaming Cardio Partio, and it's on Wednesday nights. And it like, if I do that every week, I feel so much better.
Yeah, it's super fun. I was doing it for a while with my sister.
Yeah.
And then I heard they started offering it on Friday nights too.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But yeah, their new space is super awesome. Like it's just so like inclusive and comfortable, and everybody's super friendly, and like you sweat your butt off.
I know.
Like,
yeah. And I would feel so intimidated because I grew up Irish step dancing, but I didn't do any other kind of dance. And I feel like I'd be so intimidated to go like take a ballet class, but I could take one at floor polish because I'd know that it's just like,
you're just like Julia Stiles and Save the Last Dance.
Yes! Last Dance. Yeah. Exactly.
All the references. What are you curious about right now?
So I do feel like I've been really curious about
girls. No, just kidding.
Girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Women. Curious about actually learning more about food. So I haven't done any professional training. I cooked with my mom growing up, like all the time. And she's an awesome cook, and I learned a lot from her. And I have an Italian uncle, and he taught me a lot about certain Italian basics, but most of it has just been books and videos and a lot of self-taught stuff. But now I want to go and learn from like the experts, and I want to become like a real master of the craft. So that's something that's really recently, like now that the shop has started to settle, I just want to like learn all the best practices and all the, like I really want to get good.
Take it next level.
That's been on the thing. But I'm also curious, like outside of work stuff, definitely like personal growth and transformation, spirituality. I think that's another big part of my life as well.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah.
You know.
Person.
You know.
Some of us are into that. Some of us are into that. And I applaud you for your efforts, Carolyn.
Ben's asking if he can interrupt.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben.
Hi there. I'm just asking Carolyn about dinner.
Oh, we're hungry too.
Do you want me to order for you guys as well?
No.
Should we do with my mom or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. We're doing family dinner.
Oh.
Nice. Crazy. What's a profession other than what you're doing right now that you would like to attempt? So you have this curiosity to like become this grand master of culinary greatness. Yeah. But what other professions would you attempt if you had a chance?
I'd love, this is totally different. There's a lot of things I would like to do. And I don't, and that's the funny thing about CERES too, is whatever it is, I don't think it's like I think it's leading to something else, and I have no idea what that is, whether it has to do with food or not, and it might not.
Yeah.
So, but I love, like, my mom always thought I'd be a really good radio host like Diane Reeves and interview
Oh
people.
yeah.
So I think that's amazing. I just love talking to just like creative and people, just all that I love. And I think it'd be fascinating to just get to talk to all the people where they're doing some project. And I feel greatly about like people being divinely led in whatever that means to you, and wanting to know where the inspiration for things comes from. So I think that'd be fun, which is kind of what you're doing a little bit, Mr. Diane.
Doing it. I went to college initially for journalism because I was always interested in like the news and reading publications and things like that. But then I just realized like communication as a whole, it's everywhere in every aspect of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so like just the learning process and like human behaviors and how we express and how we inform and how we get educated like has always been appealing to me. And I think for me, like that's kind of what led me to where like primarily now I'm in human resources, and I never once thought of myself as like an HR person. Like I had zero desire of studying that in school or anything like that. But the way I look at it, like, yeah, I'm in this function, but the interactions that I get to have with people and like to like analyze and like dissect people's personalities and how they talk, and then to like learn from people like that, it's really energizing. And then being able to broaden that, like you were saying, like you have the restaurant as like a goal, and it's something that you have a lot of passion and interest for, but it's maybe not necessarily the for everything. And I think that's like the beauty of like human existence is like for me up until a couple of years ago, like I was just one of those people that was very much like, you do this is the track you stay on, this is what you focus on, this is what you retire from. But then I started realizing like that fills up just like a little percentage of my life. And then being able to do things like with me creating Jaxon Life Design, it was like I was able to put this creative energy into something else, but then get that energy back in return to apply to like other places. And you just see the like how it all works together, and it's just like gets me excited.
Yeah. And I know this is like a privileged, I know this is coming from a place of privilege that I'm allowed to say this, but I feel like a lot of people are working a job and they're unhappy. And even in the service industry, I've worked in different cafes and restaurants, and people are unhappy. And I always want to say, like, you can go, like, if you're not for technically unskilled work, like, you can go do something else. Like, you don't have to be here unhappy every day.
Right. Yeah. They have a choice.
Yeah. And you can make anything good or you can make anything bad. I definitely believe in that.
Yeah, true.
It's just like, that's the thing, is like finding those opportunities to share with people. Like every human being has some kind of self-limiting behavior, and something that I think is always a work in progress. But I think a lot of people, I mean, are just kind of like raised or just told by society, like you fit this mold and that's what you do. And they don't have enough voices, or don't choose to listen to voices around them where it's like, no, you can fully switch it up if you want to. Like, I think it's like confidence and like support and like resources for sure. What's something that you failed at that like sticks with you? I'm Barbara Walters. I'm asking the hard questions.
I know. I'm trying to think of something like that feels obvious.
Was it a dance competition?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, probably. Definitely. Something that I failed at that really sticks with me. I feel like there was a long period of my life where I was scared and would run away from conflict and would run away from anything that was like even if it was a positive opportunity, if it felt like too big to handle, I would just run away. So I feel like I definitely failed myself just as an individual and failed those who were involved because I was just like running away from conflicts, running away from opportunities, not facing things fully. And I felt a lot of like guilt from that for a while until I did a lot of personal work to be like, okay, I'm not that anymore. I don't have to be that. I can be something else.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful and deep. Let's have some fun chit chat, shall we?
Okay.
We
so
shall.
another so like we've talked a lot about food, and Tucson's definitely like a foodie city, or has become one for sure. One of my other favorite memories of you is you used to be a DJ at KXCI, and you actually allowed me to co-DJ one morning, which was super fun because obviously not something I had ever done, but I had interested in like the music part of it, and like being able to like pick out the playlist and all that was super exciting, and learning about cuss words and having to hit the buzzer because there was a cuss word in the song. But what are your, like, with Tucson also being a very big music town, like what are some like local music loves that you have, like bands or artists?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm embarrassingly Ben's biggest fan. Like, that is embarrassing. But
what is Ben's band?
He's in a few. So his latest project that he hasn't done that much recently is Sad Reptilian. And technically, you're not supposed to know who he is, but I think everyone does anyway. His like whole concept is that he's part of the reptilian race that's like trying to take over the world, but he's like sensitive and likes humans, and he's sad and he doesn't want to take over the world. So he wears this reptile mask and plays these like heart-wrenchingly beautiful sad songs, and it kills me. Like, I love it so much. And then I used to go out a lot more. Now I wake up so early and I never go out anymore. But that was when I first moved here. Like, I remember seeing Bob Log the first time. Were you guys there? Were you there at Flycatcher? I went with Genevieve and some Beeline people.
I think I was, yeah.
And that, it was just so raucous. Like, he was on stage. Have you ever seen him, Jax?
No.
That was a long time ago, girl.
It was a long time ago, but I will never forget it. It was like one of the first live shows I ever saw in Tucson, and it was just like packed to the gills. It's just him on stage, and he wears a mask too, and he just sits and he has this like really bluesy kind of slide guitar, and then he does drums, and it's like kind of distorted, and it's really fast paced and intense, and people were just like going off the wall, and it was so fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I've seen so many good shows here. And so much good local music. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's endless, I feel like, that's for sure. So since you don't go out anymore, what do you do with your weekends? What does it look like?
Oh my gosh. Well, I have a dog who I'm obsessed with, and I've never grew up with pets really. So since I work so much, I like spending the weekends with him. We hike a lot. I try to find water. I'm not very good with the heat.
What's his name?
Guante. He's from Mexico. My friend was in Baja working on a mango farm, and someone found these puppies with their mom in an abandoned building, and they brought them back to the farm. So my best friend brought back one for her and one for me. So she has his brother. And he's like the best, gruffiest, most ridiculous dog ever. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Fur babies.
Fur babies. But mostly just like hike, hang out.
Yeah.
Especially
taking
now.
the vibes.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
That's
really.
true.
You're a Corona girl too. You like a cold Corona?
Oh yeah, why not? With a lime? But it's like, I only want it when it gets hot out. If it's not hot.
You can't do the Corona?
Not really. But when it's hot, it's like all I want is I used to date a brewer and I was like, IPAs, anything crazy, that's all I wanted to drink. And pretty much now, all I want to drink is a Mexican lager with a tahini rim and some rum.
Perfection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is your favorite podcast to listen to right now?
I'm not listening to any right now, but I loved, my sister recommended it to me, and it was called The Score Bank Robber Diaries. And it was so good, and he's such a good storyteller, and it's just this guy who was a bank robber in Southern California in the 1980s. But it's a lot about personal struggle, and the way that he can put words to human experience and emotion, I think is so incredible. And he's been through so much, and he's come out on the other side of so much. So I really like just listening to his whole story.
Nice. We'll have to check that out.
Oh, you will love it.
I think you recommended it to me in real time when you were listening to it.
I did.
Tell me something that's true that almost nobody agrees with you on.
True about myself or true?
Or just about anything. Like, I love flabby bacon, and people fight me with that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sure Ben could think of more that I'm, like, insistent that things should be this way. I am pretty, like, stuck in my ways. Okay?
What do you keep your thermostat at?
What do we keep the thermostat at? We just have swamp at our house right now.
So hot and humid.
It's good for the skin.
78. But I shouldn't say hate. I really don't do well in the heat. Like, I'd rather be cold than hot. So I love sleeping cold. Like, if I could have my bedroom at like 56 with a down comforter, that would be ideal.
Okay.
Yeah. I might have to go like a little bit soonish to go to dinner.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We can wrap up here.
Yeah, let's round out the episode.
That's it. No, I think we're good.
Yeah. So just a couple last things. Anything that you want to plug? So I call it a soulful plug, but like a shameless plug. So anything restaurant-wise or event-wise that you want to plug real quick?
Not really. I think like our Instagram. I mean, everyone just finds us through Instagram.
Yeah.
And I feel like
True.
we don't do anything else. We just do a special every week, and then our 4 pasta choices.
Hey, I think simplicity is perfect. Like, you nailed it.
I'm very into simplicity. Like, if I go somewhere and they have a huge menu, I'm like,
no Cheesecake Factory for you.
Have a big menu. There's an exception.
Real quick, can you highlight any nonprofit or social service that you support that you're really into at the moment?
No.
All right, that's okay.
That's fine.
Support, like,
maybe 2020 is your year to get into it.
I would support like public media type.
Yeah. KXCI. I mean, you were volunteering.
Yeah, KXCI. Yeah.
Nice.
I will say, to a fault, I've been very self-focused these days.
Yeah. Rightfully so.
Yeah, but I'm ready. I feel like I'm moving to a place where I can step out of that more. I was almost thinking about reaching out to KXCI again and seeing, like, I'm getting to a place where.
We love you as a DJ.
Thanks.
DJ Clem.
Thanks.
DJ Clem.
Also. Oh, go ahead.
If future guests on Tucson Talks, who would you like to see?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. I would love to see Ben's mom, Jo.
I know. I want Jo.
I wonder if she would. I'll ask her.
Okay.
Let her know.
Who else would I love to see on here? You know, yeah. I'd love to see like some KXCI people. I think would be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy
Rivers. She's a Tucson staple, that's for sure. Holler at Kathy.
I mean, I'm always curious about different restaurant owners and their backgrounds and stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you know who I'd like to know more about, and I could probably just ask someone, but it'd be fun, is I love the whole La Hermanita that's attached to the coronet thing, and it feels like a similar vibe of, I don't know, just to what we're doing at CERES.
Cool.
Okay.
So
we'll connect with that.
Yeah.
We'll tag them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Carolyn, Ms. Clementine, sweet Clementine, for being on Tucson Talks and sharing with us all your goodies and knowledge.
Yes.
And if you haven't been to CERES yet, please do, viewers, because it's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty
CERES, Tucson.com. Check out where their directions are. We'll put their information in the video description, as well as information regarding Jaxon Life Design.
Yeah.
And until next time, stay well, stay focused, stay connected, and enjoy your dinner, Carolyn.
Love
Bye.
You. Bye.
Bye.